I looked at it looked like it was on it was on a couple of those free with ads type services, and I did not. I've seen one too many Limu Emu commercials lately. Hello and welcome to the KendallCast Movie Roundtable. I'm your host Kendall. With me as always is Ian.
And we are recording at night.
And Nick.
It's always night.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, that's true. We do always record at night.
Can you remember the last time we recorded and it was day? I mean, don't not just like distant memories, but like recent memories of when it was day. That's weird.
I haven't recorded a podcast in the daytime in a long time. Top 8 we used to record on Saturday afternoons sometimes. But because it's a little easier to. We have West Coasters. It's a little easier to record during the daytime.
It's felt super dark this winter. I've been very bad at getting out of the house before the sun goes down, so it kind of feels like it right now.
I like the dark.
Yeah, so dark.
We're talking about Dark City. Yeah, Ian, why'd you pick this movie?
I saw this movie a few years ago. It struck a lot of things that I like. It's just kind of weird. It feels like a 1999 movie is actually a 1998 movie, which is, I guess, close enough. But, one of those kind of weird, bold, creative, interesting movies that's like very campy, but a lot of fun, especially to see for the first time. And I figured you guys hadn't seen it, and I wanted you to watch it.
So I will say it's interesting you say it feels like a 1999 movie. I feel like it feels like a 1992 movie.
Huh.
Or even maybe even a little earlier.
I mean, there's no movie that it feels like more than The Matrix. And people often cite this movie as something that inspired The Matrix or changed how The Matrix was done. And there are some even additional things like the rooftop chase. The set was actually sold to The Matrix afterwards, so it's the same rooftop. And I find the visual style very reminiscent of The Matrix, or I guess The Matrix is reminiscent of this since this came out a year earlier. And that's why, to me, it thoroughly cements itself in like the late 90s.
Yeah, I hard disagree. I think that the movie that this looks most like is Batman 89.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I think it has that sort of grim, like low rent New York look that you get with Batman 89, with a little bit of the Ninja Turtles movie, a little bit of the Super Mario movie, a little bit of Dick Tracy. There's some like Tim Burton-ness to it, which is why I was very surprised that people compare this to The Matrix, because my big takeaway is that The Matrix, it looks like it was made in, like, I feel like this looks like it was made in 1992, and that The Matrix looks like it was made in 2001. Like it's The Matrix looks like all the movies that came for the next 10 years, because they were all trying to be The Matrix, but with the leather and the thing, but like the sort of noir aesthetic of this felt very, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like that sort of thing. But Nick, what were your first thoughts on this movie?
I was actually going to bring up Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because Judge Doom feels like any of the strangers, the villain from that. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I like it. I'd never seen the movie, and I absolutely screwed up and forgot your recommendation to watch the director's cut until I was reading about the differences, and I was like, oh yeah, the opening was absolutely spoiled.
So apparently, I don't know if I've seen I don't know if the first time I watched this, I watched the regular version or not. The director's cut is much preferred. Because Kiefer Sutherland apparently has a monologue at the beginning, like an intro that like gives away many of the key plot points, and the director's cut wisely removes all of that and lets you just kind of be lost for a while, and then slowly give you the puzzle pieces before dumping everything on you at the end.
Yeah, no, I forgot that the director's cut was a thing that you had said until later when I was reading about it, and I'm like, wait a second, I've messed this up. The director's cut was not an option on the service that I was looking at it on, so I completely forgot that it existed.
Which version did you watch, Kendall?
I watched the director's cut. I followed instructions.
Good. Yeah, it's on Prime, on Amazon Prime, so it is accessible.
Yeah, I had to pay $4 for it, but it was good. It was a good movie.
Or you could watch the vastly inferior version for free on Plex, depending on what you're up for.
Yeah, I looked at it looked like it was on it was on a couple of those free with ads type services, and I did not. I've seen one too many Limu Emu commercials lately that I was like, no, I'll pay the $4.
Yeah, I usually do that, but I think my Plex membership means that I actually don't get ads on that service, and so it wasn't an issue for me.
So what do you guys think? Yeah, go ahead.
I will say also that definitely thought that that Dr. Daniel Schraber was played by Tim Robbins and not Kiefer Sutherland. Totally messed that up. I guess all the random white actors look the same to me or something, but he was a very Tim Robbinsy character.
I mean, he was generally wearing like lots of makeup and like hunched and like has a hat or the suit and everything. He very much was trying to like make himself like creepy and small. So it's not identifying him makes perfect sense. It's fine.
What do you think of his performance, Sutherland's performance? I guess it's rather divisive.
Oh, really? I thought I thought it was really interesting.
I felt like some scenes were fine and some scenes were a little bit much. I don't know, I feel like the voiceover was one of the worst parts, to be honest. Other than that, the bath, I think in the, I mean, yeah. Other than the fact that it ruined the entire movie, no, it was still a good movie. But other than the fact that it gave a lot away, so I wasn't like wondering about stuff. I was kind of just wondering how we could get to what we had already described. But yeah, I think maybe some of the, I don't know, some of the like the swimming scenes where he was just like hiding in the water from them was kind of weird, but at the same time, like I don't know how well his makeup was holding up, or I mean, it's hard to act while you're like swimming. That's just a weird thing that you don't have to do most of the time, I imagine.
I thought I thought his performance was good. I kind of felt like he was supposed to be a sort of like sniveling little nervous guy. And so yeah, I mean, he wasn't like I don't know what he was trying to do, but I feel like he achieved it. I really liked, and I was just mostly just, kind of going with it. Honestly, I think that the fact that although the world and everything is a little different, I think the fact that people compare this to the Matrix is like a little bit of a spoiler, even though it's pretty different from the Matrix. But like the idea that that people are in this world that is like, if I didn't know it was the Matrix, I don't know that I would have necessarily like immediately jumped to this, this world isn't real kind of thing.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest things that the opening spoiled was just how important was just that he was an important character as much as anything else. Because since he's giving it from his perspective, it sort of inserts himself immediately as the main narrative character, even though we're following the other character whose name I've completely forgotten, starts with an M something.
Murdoch.
Murdoch. It just kind of sets the Doctor like more important than the story would otherwise have put him, at least early in the film. And that's just kind of a shame. But I understand why the execs insisted on an info dump, because they don't trust the author, or they don't trust viewers in general.
Yeah, happens a lot.
Yeah,
and then we get director's cuts.
Yeah,
I guess Blade Runner is the same way. All of Harrison Ford's voiceover he didn't want to do, and they forced him to add it.
Yeah. I think that the Doctor's character was really interesting because I mean, at least in the director's cut when I didn't see the thing, but like you like all the way kind of up until the end, you don't know whether you can trust him or not, because he is working with the strangers, and you know like he's got that you have that Chekhov's gun of the like, if you just take this shot you'll understand everything, and he's like, well, I'll just hold on to that, and then he gets it at the end, um and like for like a weird, I don't know, Deus Ex Machina isn't the right word for it, but like it was like an almost 2001-esque ending of like, oh no, you're all powerful, you can do anything. It kind of worked, the ending kind of worked for me. Yeah, everything, and yeah,
right.
everything. Yeah, the movie was
it doesn't
great.
solve all the problems that they're facing, but it resolves the narrative, at least in this particular story, which I think
so
is
you don't compare that to the Matrix? I mean, like Neo flies off at the end. Like he's the one and all this stuff. I don't know. It's a very similar ending.
Yeah,
I mostly think
compare it a little bit. They do the flying thing. They both fly.
Right.
Well, I mostly think that visually the two films don't look anything alike.
I disagree.
I think the Matrix.
The Matrix. I think a lot of it is the color palette, that people immediately focus in on.
Right. Well, the because like when I think of the Matrix, and I'm the person that the Wachowskis were yelling at in the Matrix 4, but I think of the fight sequences. I think of leather. I think of and I do think of that like very, very distinctly. This takes place exactly in 1999, and everybody's wearing, if they're not wearing leather, then they're walking around daytime in New York City in 1999, like a very specific, a very specific time and place. Um, and then there's that's juxtaposed with the real world where they're on a ship and it has its own, kind of look and feel, that grayness. Whereas this felt like it was, again, like it was very Batman 89, where it's simultaneously taking place in modern day, but they're also driving cars from the 1920s. And
these weird anachronisms, which of deliberately confused you as to when it was supposed to be, but also that itself kind of suggests that it's an artificial world.
Right. But it's very like, I think that's very neo-noir. Like I was like, how is this even considered cyberpunk for most of it until they reveal that they're on a spaceship. But other than being on a spaceship, like it feels almost steampunk at times.
Yeah, it's very noirish. Jennifer Connelly also like is a very noir dame character.
Right.
She's a singer in a nightclub. Right, she just fits perfectly into that world.
Yeah, it opens up very 1920s, and it kind of shifts over time a little bit more into later periods. Although the diner is very specifically 50s, and the automat,
and like the I feel like every steampunk story I've ever read is about Jack the Ripper. So the fact that he's that we were presented with him as someone who's murdering prostitutes is huge. I don't know. I just, and like it's also like the Matrix. There's also like, I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't know. I haven't revisited the Matrix. Maybe it doesn't look the way I remember it, but I remember the Matrix leaning very heavily on CGI, and this had a very tactile feel to it. The visual effects. So it's just that the visual style just are very, like, the only connection that I would make between Dark City and this. Yes, you have the character the main character who has figured out that they're in that the world that they're in is artificial and is being controlled and manipulated by we'll say non-humans.
Yeah. Now there are, like I said, there's the colors and kind of just the way that the set pieces are laid out. But there's also a huge reliance in both movies on water, kind of as a prop, as a thing that happens. Just in the Matrix, everyone is wet leather all the time, but in both movies, it kind of it always exists, like in kind of it's important to the narrative, and it's also just in almost every shot. The streets are wet. The strangers hate it. Uh, in the end, water lets him build a beach, which makes perfect sense, and there's absolutely no doubt about where they were putting all that water. It's fine. But
well, they're
water's
creating
really
it.
important.
They're
to this
tuning
movie.
it.
Yeah, they're tuning
Yeah.
it. They kind of mentioned in a throwaway line that the strangers hate it, and then they just kind of stay away from it. And the doctor's hiding from them during this interview by swimming in it all the time. There's a canal that I guess they have all the time. I don't know, but I just find it really interesting how the water is just omnipresent in, I guess, even both movies. Matrix has it all the time. There's the pool of that he's in when he's a battery and climbs out of. There's all the rain scenes. It's just well done
Yeah,
in both of them.
there's a little trivia I just found saying one day during filming, the director had them wet down a street just to make it more visually appearing, and somebody pointed out they were confused, like, if the strangers hate water, why would the streets be wet all the time? And his answer was, it looks cool.
Yeah, I mean,
That's it.
film noir has also historically done a lot with rain and wet
Yeah.
streets, and it's kind of an unpleasant, like, dark theme. Like it's just something that is part of the underbelly narrative that cyberpunk and steampunk and all that stuff tends to love.
So the other movie from 1998 about someone who is weirdly important being in an artificial world that came to mind for me is The Truman Show.
Oh, that's also from this year?
Yep. 1998 was a crazy year.
Yeah.
So literally there's the moment in The Truman Show when he gets in the boat and he sails to the edge and he gets to the and that's literal. There's literally a moment here where they get in a boat and when they're going to
you get to the edge of the world and you find
Shell
that
Coast,
it's just
yeah.
a wall.
The wall, yeah.
Yep.
What do you do when you hit the wall?
And then at the end, what do they do? At the end, what does he do? He cues the sun.
And it goes
just
through
like
the wall.
Just like from Truman Show. That's a Truman Show thing.
Yeah. Now there was another movie that is less popular, came much later, but I still found that felt very similar to The Strangers, would be The Chronicles of Riddick and the Necromongers. I think felt very similar to me, with their leather outfits and their paleness and the green. And the Stranger Lair with that green face and just everything lit up, I love it. I love it so much. And I don't like the clock as much, but I like everything else about it, especially their little weird subway cart thing.
Yeah, and they've got like their pale bald heads just kind of like floating in the darkness. It's very visually interesting.
Yeah. And I love the idea that they're actually just possessing corpses, because that's a resource that they can afford to reuse.
Right, yeah, they're possessing corpses. I really liked
now there is one thing that I just thought of that I might have liked to have seen at that point, which would have been if one of them had used the corpse of one of the prostitutes or something. I think might have been interesting, but doesn't come up. They're busy. Might have been nice though. Anyway, continue.
You know what's really disturbing if you talk about them possessing corpses? The fact that like half of them are kids.
Yep.
Well, yeah, at least one or two of them. Like the one
Mr.
that bites
Sleep
his hand
is the
when
child.
There's a
yeah.
Well, when the ones that are running around, they usually have like one or two kids with them. But when you see like the big congregation of them, there's a ton of them that are kids.
Yeah. They also don't seem to have a problem with killing their captive humans. I mean, the humans at this point, if they're on a spaceship, are probably somewhat of a finite resource.
Yeah, I kind
So
of
you don't
wonder
want to
how
really be
many.
chewing through them at like 8 or 9 a day.
Yeah, are they a renewable resource here? I mean,
Yeah.
like, what's the plan?
Like
Right, right.
how many tunes does it take to get a full grown human?
Yeah,
It's
we
a lot.
still,
You can't really be killing them at this rate.
and of course, we
Well,
still have no idea what like how this all came about. It's
right,
deliberately left a complete mystery.
right.
Yeah,
I mean, how well, I mean, what do you do? What do you do when you run out of fish for your fish restaurant? You go catch some more. So I mean, maybe it's maybe it's not hard for them to. I mean, they can just go like sleep, and then humans fall asleep, so they could just go to Earth and I mean, they
yeah.
have
If
the
Earth is still
ability
there,
to
Yeah, possibly.
manipulate matter and all this crazy stuff. It's probably.
Assumedly, they went far away for a reason, wherever
Mm,
they are.
so earlier we talked about Blade Runner a little bit, and one of the things that struck me on this viewing of the movie is that this feels like a PKD novel, Philip K. Dick, like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I've read several of his novels recently, like Ubik and A Maze of Death and several others, and he consistently has these themes of like making you question what reality is and always has like these strange twists. He's kind of paranoid, i- i- questions about reality and existence, and you know, multiple twists in each of his books to try to make you doubt that you know what's going on. And I felt like this fit in pretty well with that, from a perspective of like what is memory, like what is identity, like how much of us are just a function of our memory versus what can and cannot be manipulated in that way. The only thing I felt like would be different in a PKD novel is there would be one more twist at the end that would again like change everything that you thought you had discovered by the time you get to the end of the movie.
I feel like if it
But I
was
thought,
a Philip K. Dick novel, it'd be funnier. But
well, yeah,
I haven't read a
sometimes.
lot
I
of
mean,
Philip
some
K.
of them are
Dick,
funny.
but
Yeah,
everything that I've read of him is pretty funny. Or like silly weird. I don't know. But this has some silly elements too, so I don't know. I don't know. Like I really like it's little stuff, but I really did appreciate the way that the guy that was the hotel owner, and then he becomes the uh what is he, newspaper
The
salesman, and
newspaper.
he
Yeah.
says no time off for good behavior on so like it's like no matter what your memories are, you're going to be predisposed to like some of the same phrases. um the idea that Murdoch and uh Jennifer Connelly,
yeah,
whatever
Emma.
her character's name is,
Yeah, it was Emma for a while. It was
Emma.
Anna at the end.
Then she
Yeah,
becomes Anna. But like,
yeah,
even though they had never met before, their connection was real. um like that sort of, there is
yeah.
something
So
inherent to humanity that goes beyond,
right. So
we're not
she
just brains
says,
in jars.
yeah, it does that in several ways, right? So like in the when she visits him when he gets locked up, like they have this moment where she's like, love, you can't fake love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then later he tells the strangers the same thing essentially. He says like, you're looking in the wrong place. What makes us human, what makes us individual isn't up here, isn't in our heads.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course at the very end he meets Anna, now Anna, on the end of the pier, and they immediately have some kind of connection,
Mm-hmm.
which again like suggests that there is this reality, and that what's between them isn't purely a function of memory.
And this is another thing that makes it feel very 90s, because these are all very like sort of almost cliche, like very like surface level. This is pretty obvious that this is what you were trying to say with the message of the movie. But but also the movie doesn't have to, it doesn't feel the need to like wink at you about it. Like it just is like, this is the message that I'm trying to say, and I'm just going to be earnest about it. There's this earnestness that I feel like we get with a lot of with 90s movies that there's not as much need to be ironic or to be winky or to have everything be a joke or something. I don't
It
know.
also just moves very fast, so it doesn't
Mhm.
really take any time. It doesn't waste much time. It felt this time watching it, I looked at the clock a couple of times, and it's only an hour 45 minutes. At least the director's cut is, and it felt longer to me just because so many different things happen. Like if you have a plot synopsis, it's very long. Uh, because it's constantly telling it. There's a lot of characters that you're following. There's not just like one main character. You're not just following Murdoch. You're also following Inspector Bumstead,
Mhm.
and then like you got the scenes with Mr. Book and the strangers, and then you got Schreiber scenes, and there's just a lot going on. It's a very convoluted plot, and that makes the run. It gets a lot out of the runtime.
Yeah, there's not a lot of long shots or anything like that. In fact, there's supposed to be a scene cut every 2 seconds in this film, or
Huh.
something like that. At least I think the non-director's cut has that. The director's cut's about 11 minutes longer, from what I hear, as opposed to the 111 minutes versus 100 minutes that the normal movie is. But yeah, I believe it. There's very repeatedly fast cuts pretty much all the time, back to characters' faces, but back and forth. There's not a lot of like long shots for you to kind of establish yourself and get a good feel for what's going on. They do a very good job using the cinematography to keep you feeling unsteady and unsure of what you're looking at.
I One other thing I noticed about the runtime is that the first tuning is 40 minutes in. Um, about half the movie in before you see the first tuning. The Up until that point, you're just kind of you think it's been all the same night so far, and it has. And then you get the first tuning, and then there's one other tuning later on, with the rooftop chase. And I liked how the first tuning is all about like, whoa, what, building onto the mystery, building onto the puzzle, like what exactly is going on here. And then the second one, it's like a set piece for an action chase scene where the city is changing around them, and the one guy gets crushed between the buildings, and it's all very exciting. So introduces you to these weird things that's happening, and then using it as a set piece the very next night, I found it to be enjoyable.
Technically speaking, you're talking about the second and the third tuning, because the
There's a very early tuning too.
the
Yeah.
tuning the tuning happens at the very beginning, because when
Sure.
he goes
Yeah, he
down to the
comes down.
lobby,
Yeah,
everyone's still
everyone's
asleep.
asleep. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
The first tuning
Yeah,
that we see everything, yeah, and we
yeah.
understand what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first tuning is the one in which he was, the operation to inject new memories
Right.
was botched by
Right.
Schreiber.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I just really, I liked the way they handled that first scene where you see everybody kind of waking up, because it's this thing where it's like you totally don't know the rules of this world.
Hmm.
Obviously, this is something weird's going on on some level, and it could just be that we are living in a heightened, like, you almost take it as like we're living in a heightened reality, and that was just like people move kind of slow, or and then you kind of forget by the time it happens the next time, you kind of have forgotten about it, and then you
Well,
realize what's happening.
my impression this time is because the strangers were coming through. I thought all those people were dead, and that like the strangers had like killed them all because like they're evil agent people, and then they all wake. Of course, it cuts and it shows you that it's midnight. He notices that it's midnight, and then they all wake up, and you're like, oh, huh, they're not dead. They were what, sleeping?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, they definitely, yeah. There was some stuff, because you also had
Now,
the thing. I'm
there's a
tired.
few things that I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna have to rewatch the director's cut to see. I kind of wish that I'd managed that, or at least kind of found one and then gone through, because there's a few different things that seem to be on the list of changes, including the fact that you guys mentioned the tuning scenes felt really up to date. That's because they redid them all. They redid all the special effects for this movie, for the director's cut, because the original one that I saw was very... There were a lot of practical effects, which I really liked, especially like the huge drill that was really cool, where they showed those close-ups and stuff. But the actual tuning scenes, where they would use their abilities on like the wall and stuff, felt very like... I don't know what effect it had in the director's cut, but it was very like echolocating. I am a bat and I can hear everything's like rings coming out.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I mean, it was the wobbles.
Yeah, there were scenes that definitely felt like... I don't know if you've seen a lot of South Park, where they have the psychic fight and everyone's just kind of like at each other. The end kind of felt a little ridiculous that.
There was definitely a lot of people just staring at each other, rather than like real action, like running around.
And
right?
I mean, and I do love the old classic, like Star Trek, the ship is exploding, and things just people falling all over the place while one thing in the foreground moves.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of... I will say yes, it was a lot of practical effects. And it looked... that's also kind of part of where I was thinking it looked backwards a little bit. Where it looked like it was a little bit earlier, or a little bit, certainly a lower budget than the Matrix. Again, maybe the Matrix looks like it was made in before Citizen Kane. If I rewatch it, I haven't revisited the Matrix, because it's not...
and the Matrix has the advantage of doing this. I mean, they came up with that time stop photography trick, which makes it feel way more modern, being the first film to do something like that.
Yes. There's so much stuff in the Matrix that's I was really expecting there to be some bullet dodging in this. He does stop the knife at the one point, is like that's definitely the most Neo looking thing, but like, I was expecting at least a little bit of bullet dodging, but no, we didn't get any bullet dodging. He didn't.
So they also remastered some of the colors, so maybe some of the colors that I mentioned seeing aren't the same ones that you saw. Supposedly the director's edition is a lot more green, while the original is more blue. Which
mostly just gray.
Blues and grays. But yes. And also the the Jennifer Connelly's actually was in the original was dubbed over with someone else singing, and in the director's cut they actually went back and had her sing again to dub over her being dubbed over.
Interesting.
So I'm curious to see what that's like.
I mean, when I heard it, I thought that this sounds like her, and it doesn't sound like a professional singer, but she did perform adequately for the role.
Yeah, I did like the fact that they had somewhat more modern music that was clearly changed to be more lounge singery. I thought that was a nice touch.
But I said so. The other thing that this movie reminded me a lot of some of the aesthetics was Buffy. So every time they cut to that, I would say they're at the Bronze.
Yeah, could see that. Let's see other things. Yeah, I guess there's some plot parts that I missed with director Bumstead and Emma. Something about a dead hooker's daughter hiding that didn't exist in my copy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And extended dialogue scenes with Mr. Schraber and Mr. Hand. So I missed out, I guess.
Yeah, the daughter witnessed her murder at the hands of the strangers, which wasn't that important in that it didn't really change what Bumstead did after that. But it did at least mean that he knew that Murdoch was off. The murderer. Yeah.
Just another sign that something wasn't right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes we talk about world building and hard magic, soft magic systems.
It's about as soft as it gets.
This This was exactly my kind of thing. Like the world building was like maybe there were rules to this world, but it did not spend very much time explaining them. You get a couple of lore dumps, a couple of exposition dumps, but generally speaking, it was just kind of, you were just kind of going with it. And at the end, it was just all about making something look cool and telling the story that they wanted to tell and making it look cool. And I am all about that. Like I don't need uh I've been talking a lot about I don't know if either of you guys watched Pluribus. It's this new hard sci-fi sort of show that it's one of these shows that it's a 10 episode, it's everything that's wrong with television, but it's still it's still kind of good. But it takes 10 episodes to tell 4 episodes worth of story. And basically the every single episode is just about answering another question about the world building, and at the expense of there's no character relationships or and it's just focused in on the world building and answering the questions. And some people like that stuff. But it's the opposite of what I want. I just want the
world
story.
building is nice, but there should probably still be a main story and some stuff going on. If there's a reason for you explaining something, it should probably get used.
And there are times that like I think we talked about Inception a million years ago, and that's a movie that's like all about the world building, and who knows what the story is, but it's super compelling. I think we decided it was the best this might be the best. Dark City might be above Inception for best non-franchise sci-fi movie. Because I think we talked about that.
Sci-fi movies.
Yeah,
those are usually, I mean, sometimes they're good. I've watched a lot of Sci-Fi Channel movies, so they're not all top tier, but
it was just like what's the better one, unless you like like 2001 or something, but like
I want to love 2001, but I just always get annoyed with all the beeping. It gets kind of on my nerves.
I don't even remember what I said about 2001 when we reviewed it.
So much beeping.
It was like we reviewed it, I think, in 2001. It was so long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Well, actually, it was in 2020.
It was in 2020, yeah, because it was the last. Yeah. It was one of the last movies I saw in theaters before the pandemic. Although I think we reviewed it in the middle of the pandemic, technically. But anyway, I think we reviewed it a few months after that. But I
late 2020. That was not in the middle, but early middle. Yeah.
Yeah. Early mid. Yeah. Depends on where you put your date, where you draw the lines. But yeah, Dark City was good.
Yeah, Dark City was quite good.
Nice.
It's kind of one of those under budget films that definitely, like, not a lot of people have seen it, but it definitely punched above its weight in maybe the cultural aspect and other things that it influenced. So rather than, it's not one of those that gets referenced directly, but a lot of things kind of take their influence from it, whether they know it or not.
I think if I was like a hipster jaded asshole in 1999, then I would say that The Matrix was just a worse version of Dark City. But
fortunately, you're clearly not that, so it's
fine. Yeah. No, I'm an asshole in 2026, so I can see that Dark City and The Matrix aren't actually as similar as everyone says they are. That's my hot take.
Looks like it didn't do too well at the box office, although it may have made a profit ish. Yeah. but it got a bunch of Saturn awards, of course. It tied with Armageddon for the best sci-fi picture of 1998.
That is a hard that's a hard movie to be up against.
Yeah.
Speaking of science fiction non-franchise movies,
I've never seen Armageddon. I've seen Deep Impact a bunch.
We can fix Armageddon.
Is Armageddon Michael Bay?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. 1998 Michael Bay.
All these movies
he did
came
get
out
to
in
make a lot of
1998.
explosions in that movie.
I think I've said everything I have to say. Anybody else have thoughts?
Yeah, I was just glancing at my notes. I think I hit my key points as well.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think we basically got it. Fairly impressive CGI for the time, although, it still looks a little dated. But, there's a lot worse examples.
Okay. Well, yeah, I didn't really notice CGI. Like, I mean, there were like some explosions that looked like they were from an 80s movie that, were obviously, computer,
Yeah,
whatever.
honestly,
that
I thought
early.
they did a really good job with showing the strangers like weird alien form. I was a little surprised by how quality that was, considering how cheap I'd heard this movie was.
I
think the rings were the main thing that bothered me, but they really weren't that bad compared to other similar films and their terrible CGI. It felt like it aged a lot better than some other movies.
Maybe that's something that was. You said that they redid it for the director's cut. Maybe it's something that was cleaned up. I don't remember them even seeing the aliens.
What?
Yeah, they definitely showed. They went into the head and showed the alien,
Although,
and then at one point it bursts forth. I think twice.
Yeah, at
when
least
the first
3
one
times.
dies. After
Yeah, he initially
hung,
fights. Yeah, he fights the ones on the bridges. You see one then, right?
Or on the billboard. Yeah.
Yeah. On the bridge billboard, and then it zooms in and shows one, and then at the very end, the thing pops out of Mr. Book's head. Yeah.
The first one dies screaming, and kind of is your first sign that they're like connected, and then the second one bursts into flame and basically dies by orange fire, which is an unusual color for this movie.
Okay, I don't know. I was just going with it. I don't remember everything about it. I only saw it once.
Honestly, it kind of reminded me of the Ghost in the Shell movie, where you see like the colored outlines of the aliens, but happened way earlier. And,
I don't remember there being aliens in the Ghost in the Shell movie either.
Sorry, not Ghost in the Shell movie. Final Fantasy, Spirits Within.
Okay.
Sorry, just wrong franchise movie, just getting called out. Yeah, Final Fantasy, Spirits Within, which is a great movie, and everyone should love.
Speaking of movies that we're wrong about,
well, okay.
So that's our next
yet.
So that's my next challenge. At least that I'm gonna take it up on, and we'll see if Nick and Ian take up this challenge as well in their picks. But for the next movie that we're gonna watch is a movie that I have watched probably 3 or 4 times over the years and never stayed awake the whole time. And it is, on paper, it should be like one of my favorite movies. I'm
probably gonna love this, right? What is it?
It's a movie that Gen X hipsters love. It's by a director that although his movies don't necessarily totally resonate with me usually, he is like an auteur director, probably one of the like easily top 10 most like iconic auteur directors of the time. And this was I believe his first film. If not his first film, it was his kind of breakout. We are going to talk, speaking of crime noir, it's not crime noir. I don't know, maybe a little bit. We're going to talk about Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
All right.
And we'll see what we think about Pulp Fiction
all the way through that
next time on the KendallCast Movie Roundtable. This podcast is a production of the KendallCast Podcast Network. You can support the show for just $2 a month at patreon.com/KendallCast or make a direct donation through the PayPal link at KendallCast.ninja. Every little bit helps.